The world is ending, but these two goofballs don't care. Taylor and Kyle Opalk aren't here to help you. They're here to talk about nerdy stuff. Welcome to the apocalypse.
Good morning.
It's the Magic Boys, back for a Magic Ep today.
Jesus
We're going to do
Christ.
some spoilers of Lorwyn Eclipse. Is there a D in it, or is it just Eclipse?
It's an Eclipse.
There's a D.
Fuck! There is a D. Always got the D. We got 3 Ds up in this piece. Lorwyn Eclipsed. Lorwyn Eclipsed. This is, you know what? We're going to start this podcast off with some drama. We're talking about, how fucked magic is currently.
Oh.
No, we don't have to. But this is basically the last, or the first. I don't know. This is basically this is the last of Magic that I'm probably gonna care about for the foreseeable future. When they showed the release window for next year of all the sets coming out, I mean, it just fucking broke my heart. Seeing what? Not only are there 7 standard legal sets coming out next year, which is just ridiculous. But also, almost all of them are either Universes Beyond fucking cash grab slop, or sets that, just who gives a shit about. So, of course, they're returning to Lorwyn. They're
Yeah, who gives a shit about that?
What?
You said I was making fun of you for saying the 3 standard sets in universe. They're like, yeah, but who cares? And the first one you said is Lorwyn, the best set of all time. We're revisiting.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's the one set that's coming out next year, and it's the first set coming out next year, I believe.
Yes, it's coming out in January, at the end of January.
That's it. There's Lorwyn,
and then
the year is over.
So in April they're doing Strixhaven, but it's not. They're exploring the actual plane instead of it being the university. It's just So to me, that's more of an open-ended. I think it was really cool because that is where they did the 2 color combinations, but they cared about different stuff. So I was like, well, if you explore that theme a bit more, red, white, caring about graveyard stuff, I always thought that was cool with the elephant people. So take out the stupid Harry Potter theme, and you just make it a plane where it's these color combinations do weird stuff. That's at least somewhat interesting for me.
Spoiler alert, the entire plane is going to be stupid Harry Potter stuff.
Okay,
yeah,
now if that happens, then yes, I'm with Kyle. The entire year's borked.
So here's the problem, right? Is that Strixhaven set, because it was so focused on the university, I have no frame of reference for what the rest of the plane looks like. I don't fucking know or care. The only taste I got of it was blatant Harry Potter ripoff, and I hated it. And so what's the rest of the plane gonna look like to me? I don't know. Wizards outside of the university? I mean, I don't know what a non-university version of that plane looks like, you know what I mean? So I'm not excited about it in any capacity. So irregardlessly, circling back to what we are going to talk about happily today, and the last time we will ever be happy for Magic, that's Lorwyn Eclipsed. We got the spoilers. These spoilers, truth be told, are very, very cool, which is why we're talking about them. It'll probably be the last spoiler episode we do for a really long time. But these ones look really cool. So, Taylor, do you want to start us off with number 1?
Sure. Let me know if my voice sounds different or is less clear or anything. I fucked with the setting while you were chit-chatting.
Whatever, we'll just have the discussion. I was trying to it's your voice isn't coming in right away. So, or it's dropping out, it seems like your sensitivity is too high. So that's what I mean. Lower the sensitivity so that I hear more.
I will start us off with our first card. It's a transforming card. So they're bringing back transform cards. They're not modal cast. You have to play the front side first. So this one is Ashling Rekindled, a colorless and a red mana for a 1/3 legendary elemental sorcerer. Whenever this creature enters or transforms into Ashling Rekindled, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. And then at the beginning of your first main phase, you may play blue, if you do, you transform her into Ashling Rhymebound. When this creature transforms into Rhymebound, and at the beginning of your first main phase, add 2 mana of any one color. Spend this mana only to cast spells with a mana value of 4 or greater. And you can transform her to the other side by paying 1 red mana at the beginning of your first main phase.
Whew.
That's really hard. I feel like this is actually really hard to parse without visual. Like, I had to say about 100 words to explain the card that does about 15 words with abilities. When it's the front, when you cast it or transforms into red, you rummage. On the back side, you get some mana to cast one big spell. I don't know. It seems fine. It's just I don't feel anything about it in particular.
Yeah, I think it's pretty bad. Very weak. What I will say is this version of Transform is the best version they have ever made.
Yeah, it's cool as shit, because
it's so clean, it's simple, it works well, it's easy to understand, it's cheap. I still don't know how day-night works. That version of Transform is horrible. All the specific conditions that all these Transform cards have that are unique, you know, they did like the Planeswalker Transform cards that all required specific things, and like, there's a million versions of Transform, but this one is just, it's the best.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think clean is the best way to describe it. It does annoy me that you can only do it on the first main phase, but other than that, I like this. Yeah, I think
get your ire up, man.
What?
Get some passion in your voice.
Sorry, man. God damn.
What I'll say, I think is really cool across all of the cards that this might be a detriment for gameplay, but I think is a really cool thing is it's obviously the set's about, so Lorwyn has an eclipse cycle. One time we visit during the day, another cycle we visit during the night, and this was them going back and forth in one set. And this is why I think the transforming is tied and it works the way it does, is it's kind of like at the beginning of your day, is it a daytime or is it nighttime? And that's why you can't just flip back and forth maybe as freely. So it, like, to me, that is them combining the flavor and the function and balance together, which is why I like don't want to say anything bad about it, because I think it's really clever the way they do this transform. It's also kind of clean and simple. Like, I can do it when it's just the start of the turn. I get to decide, do I want it front or back? That's the only time I think about it flipping. And then every time it flips, it does something fancy, but that's it. Otherwise, it's just stats.
Wait, did we actually say what this card costs or its power toughness? I don't think we did.
Yep, I did.
Oh, okay.
I made sure, because you usually are like, Taylor, you didn't say it. So this time I say it, and you're like, did we say it? I didn't say Rhinebound State. Oh, what I also like is the front and back don't change stats. It's just abilities.
Yeah, true.
So you don't have to remember, like, oh, was one the combat side? It's just like, it's easy to, as a Magic, it's just like, they don't print French vanilla creatures anymore, even. Like, it's just, there is, everything does something very complicated. So ways that you can reduce the complexity, things you have to remember that are unique to, because this is 2 cards, you know? Like, I don't know. Even as someone who's plays Magic and reads Magic as much as I do, the dual-faced cards, like, we talk about Strixhaven, them having like dual full legendaries with all unique abilities that don't interface at all. So
they're so horrible.
So like there is this sense of like them trying to keep fronts and backs maybe more simple so that it's easier to track. While I think like I also think that a 1/3 for 2 mana that lets you rummage seems like that's playable in a lot of like decks that care about a discard pile, and maybe you never flip this thing. You know, maybe you don't care about the blue.
So
and I don't.
There's a couple thoughts I have. This is an it's an is it card, so it will likely be played if it's played, which I don't think it will be. I think it's just a little bit too weak. Well, no, it is a bit confused because it requires the 4 mana thing on the back. What I was gonna say, the synergy I like is that on turn 2 you play this. On turn 3 you spend a mana to flip it. Then when you flip it, you actually gain 2 mana. So now you're at 4 mana on turn 3, which then funnels itself into its own ability of spending the mana only on a 4 mana value or greater card. So on turn 3, you will be able to cast a 4-drop, which is pretty cool. I like that they have that synergy there. But otherwise, I don't know. I guess at the beginning of your first main phase, add 2 mana. So then on actual turn 4, you have 6 mana. That seems pretty good. Maybe you just like keep this on the back and get 2 free mana every turn, which is kind of nuts. And then if you really have a bad hand, you can flip it back to Rummage. But I don't see... I see a world where you play Ashling, you filter out a land you don't need or whatever, draw a new card, you flip this over and you keep it flipped, play the 4-drop on turn 3, and just keep gaining a ton of mana every turn. That's kind of the way I see this card getting played.
Yeah, and like when you say that, I also think about this as like 3 toughness is kind of hard to kill. It's not a throwaway amount of damage. You kind of have to think about it. And just for I know standard doesn't really matter, but like in Strixhaven, blue-red was the big spells instead of spell slinging. They cared about casting CMC 4 or greater. So I think that it is going to be playing well with the sets that it's releasing around as well.
There's 7 fucking sets coming out next year, so I'm sure there will be a ton that this thing can play with.
Yeah, it'll fit in well with at least one.
Okay, yeah. I guess I still think of Magic sets in years because they do kind of release like in one standard year. Sometimes they fit together.
They're going to have to be really aggressive with banning, right? There's going to be fucking like 15 standard legal sets at a time. How are they going to manage that?
They don't. That's why I don't know if you know how insane VV is in standard. VV plus Agatha's Cauldron is being a real terror. But anyway, I think this card is cool. It feels like it is good enough to be really powerful, but boring enough that like I can't figure it out. And I don't get.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like I would see my opponent play it and be like, I don't think this is a problem, right? And then by the time I figure out that it's a problem, it's too late. That's the kind of card it's given, the energy it's given me.
Yeah, I feel like I can't quite figure it out either. I feel like I need to see somebody actually play it in a deck because I don't know.
Yeah, this is a card that Kyle figures out and tells me why it's cool. I'm like, oh exactly. Yeah, you're right. That does work really well.
Yeah, we're going to get a message in like 7 days.
7 days.
Yeah, that's why it's called The Ring. That's so funny.
Yep, that was good. I'm going on. All right, next card we're talking about today is Ashling's Command. It is 3 colorless, 1 blue, 1 red, and we see the return of Kindred, or for you old Magic heads, Tribal. It's a Kindred instant elemental type. I fucking love that. Sorry. Its effect is, choose 2. Create a token that's a copy of target elemental you control. Target player draws 2 cards. Ashling's Command deals 2 damage to each creature target player controls. Target player creates 2 treasure tokens, and you get to pick 2 of those. This card seems really strong. Depending on how much, elemental synergy there's going to be, like, I don't know. I mean, this is just always going to be draw 2, create 2 treasure tokens at the very worst. So the worst mode of this card is it's a elemental synergistic 3 mana draw 2 at instant speed. Not amazing, but you will always be able to draw 2, which is going to be awesome. Wiping your opponent's board potentially, having, what are those? There's like the Cannonade card. It deals 2 damage to each non-pirate creature or something. But this one specifies Fiery Cannonade. This one specifies, though, 2 damage to each creature target player controls. So likely this is just going to be like a pseudo mini board wipe and then draw 2 every time. But oh wait, this is actually pretty bad with the new elemental incarnations, which we'll get to soon, the evoke ones, because if you clone them but you didn't spend mana to play them, then they just have no effect. Maybe this isn't that good, especially in the face of something like Cryptic Command that's 4 mana and does infinitely more for less.
Yeah, I will say Cryptic Command's a tough when you talk about 4 of 1 4 mana pips. That changes the equation.
No, it's 3.
Oh, 3, sorry.
I'm curious to see what other elementals there are going to end up being that are going to be good targets for the copy. I feel like you gave a good summary, Kyle. When I first saw this card, I was like, feels kind of overpriced in terms of like mana cost. But then, when like you said, I mean, a worst case scenario, it's draw 2 and create 2 treasure tokens. And I think in that case, it's really only mildly overpriced. I think it's not bad. I think really it depends on what the best copy targets are going to be. Otherwise, I like it. I really like the return of the Kindred instant.
Yeah, me too. God, that was
art,
probably
the art is
I will
sick.
tell you, I didn't know it was a Kindred spell until you pointed it out. I knew what this card did when it was first revealed. Did not even pick up that it was. I'm so glad. So I have 2 thoughts. One, Changeling is in this set, so that's something to consider. Changeling is.
Yeah.
And Mutavault is in this set, so technically you could create another Mutavault, which is kind of cool. But the other thing is that the modes on this thing are so like the modal tax is always a thing. Is like I feel like all of each type line is almost 3 mana individually. Most of those, give or take.
Yeah, draw 2, create a token. That's true.
I feel like this just I don't know many decks that wouldn't have a even excluding the top line. You never create a copy. Those other 3 modes, I just feel like almost every blue-red deck would want access to something that lets them at instant speed wipe out a board, give you some mana, and there's a lot of artifact synergy, artifact entering synergy. Treasure tokens are really deceptively powerful. They're not tapped treasure tokens either. I know that that might not be relevant, but it could be. I feel like this is probably a little bit better than it looks, but I do agree that it does look really expensive. I've seen cards like this existing, and I don't know, 2 cards and 2 treasures on blue-red makes me sick.
Keep in mind, this does synergize with Ashling herself, right? You gain the mana, and then you can spend that mana to play this command. Playing this at the end, in an Izzet deck, well, Izzet usually is not the one to just draw go. That's usually blue or Dimir.
Yeah, or Azorius mainly is what I think.
Yeah, but there's a world where you just cast this at the end of your opponent's turn, create treasures, draw cards, and then on your turn you have 8 mana, 7 mana to do insane shit with.
Yeah, it's a card that I feel like you could punish people for playing around. It's hard to play around this card optimally.
I wish it was
some decks,
draw 3, discard 1. That might make it feel
that would be
appropriately
really
powerful, but
That'd
maybe too
nuts.
strong.
Yeah,
because they didn't they have a command in, speaking of Strixhaven, that was 3 mana, and the modes were create 1 treasure, draw 1 card, or something like that. I can't remember.
I'll look it up real quick, because I think I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, this card's alright. I love commands. It's alright. I love commands. I love Kindred. But the actual card itself, it's okay. Pretty good. Okay.
Lorehold command is it the red-white one?
No, it was an Izzet colored one.
Oh, the Izzet color.
99% sure, and you can draw a card.
Okay, so this is the command that came in that set. So it's 3 mana, choose 2, deals 2 damage to any target, draw 2, discard 2. Target player gets a treasure token, destroy target artifact.
Yeah, that just sounds better to me than this one.
Really?
Truthfully.
The only mode that to me that seems like objectively stronger is arguably draw 2, discard 2. 2 to any target is, I don't know, that's fine, I guess. 1 treasure token, destroying an artifact is nice. I can't.
Very good.
Yeah. But in any case, I do think I like it. It's
there
it's
could
scary.
be some bomb elemental.
I just fucking hate blue-red so goddamn much.
I know.
My real instinct is fuck this card. Fuck you if you like playing it.
Yeah, and there's going to be games where you have a bunch of tokens and then they just 2 to everything you control and you're going to feel fucking horrible. There's going to be games where they hit. I'm sure there's some bomb-ass elementals in this set and just cloning 1 plus drawing cards. You're just going to get insane card advantage. I'm sure it has potential.
For me, the commands that are think of the worst case scenario. To me, the worst case scenario for this card is draw 2 treasure tokens, as you mentioned, that's why I have a hard time feeling like this could be bad if people have decided is 5 mana instant draw 2 treasure tokens. Is there a good deck where that's a nice effect? Because then it's great because it also destroys any token deck as a random option, and now I feel like that is really relevant in a lot of things. But in any case, we don't have to spend too much more time on
Yeah.
this because we tend to talk a lot about the early cards and then skip the end. So why don't we just move on?
We sure do.
Okay, so are we moving on to the next one?
Yep.
No, we're going to go back to the first one now.
Oh, okay. No, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. So the the next one is Bitter Bloom Bearer. He costs 2 black mana. It's a 1/1 creature who's a fairy rogue. And he has flash, flying. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and create a 1/1 blue and black fairy creature token with flying. I think this guy's going to be a real pain in the ass. Yeah, I don't know. I love it. I like him a lot. Flash, flying, create more fairies. It's going to fit in well in a lot of black decks and probably pretty much every blue-black fairy deck. So, yeah, I don't know what. I feel like it's a pretty simple card. I don't know how much there is to say.
Yeah.
I like the art a lot. The flavor text isn't terrible. So overall, well done, Magic people.
Yeah, I mean, it's Bitter Blossom put on a creature, so you can't go wrong with it.
Yeah, exactly.
What's
it's clearly going to be really fucking strong.
The one thing, so what I think is interesting is because it's flash, you can force the main downside of that artifact or enchantment, right, is it's a 2 mana do nothing until your upkeep. This one you can play at the end of a turn and you get the effect right away. So there's it's more vulnerable, but you can also get the effect so it's not just a 0 for 1.
Yeah.
The other thing I think is kind of cute is that it makes the fairy is blue and black to represent both the Lorwyn versus Shadowmoor versions. I looked up the original Bitter Blossom. It always made a black.
It's only
fairy.
black, yeah.
I wasn't sure if the original one did a blue-black one as well, but that's unique to this version. So
no, I knew that because I always wanted a Bitter Blossom for my original Teysa deck that cared a lot about black tokens, but Bitter Blossom has historically been like $20 or more for its entire existence, so I never wanted to buy it.
And this makes me wonder if we'll have a bearer cycle of like maybe iconic enchantments in certain colors, cool. And they'd be little dorky and like they would all maybe be like. So this is the fairies, and I'm sure they might have a merfolk enchant bearer. That's what I'm knowing.
That would be cool, actually.
Knowing Magic, though, they would probably put them all. They might not put them all at Mythic, but you would think if they're matching this in Power,
they will.
Then they would.
Yes.
So then, in that case, there's just probably not enough Mythics in a set. In this set, especially because this is something I wanted to mention earlier. That they don't do, they don't go to a plane and sit there for 2 or 3 sets like they used to, which is why Magic used to be so much fucking better than it is now, because we actually got to explore a set and pull it out or not a set, a plane. Now they have to cram everything into these single sets that we're not gonna go back to this plane again. So as I'm illustrating right now, it would be great to have a bearer cycle, but they probably won't because they're just not going to have enough space and they're not going to make another set of Lorwyn, so we just get fucked over. That's also why Magic has felt way more splashy and gimmicky in the last 10 years, specifically because they don't spend multiple sets and on one plane, so it just feels like everything is a lot more shallow.
It's because imagine when you've gone back to Ravnica for the 6th time, you have to kind of. Well, what makes it different this time? Then you start to veer a little into because we've been to Innistrad quite a few times, and up until the wedding, it didn't feel that gimmicky to me. Like when they came back the first time and they made it kind of more Lovecraftian and kind of detective or Clue that stuff. That was a different version of horror. It still felt like Innistrad. So but when you're having to kind of come up with a new twist on an existing location, I think it's a lot harder to keep the authentic creativity, and you start to veer into the as you said, the gimmicky kind of nature of it. I guess the
argument would be just stop revisiting sets so much, go to a new place, but then the other argument is okay, let's say they did that with New Capenna and it's really stupid and everyone hates it, and then we got to spend almost a full year with these cards. So I understand why they've changed it the way they did. I still would just appreciate 2 Two like companion sets would be really cool.
What would be a cool thing is like maybe like you have 1 year where you find the plane that everyone loves, like a Lorwyn, and have that be your 2 or 3 sets, and then the following year you have like a kind of rapid fire, like we'll visit Call Time to see what people think. New Capenna, we'll see it, like kind of a year of exploration, and then a year of like I don't know deep dive, like kind of alternate back and forth in that way. So we'd have like a best of both worlds. Because I do think the block structure wasn't inherently all better. There were some downsides because
no, and usually the middle small set felt very filler-y. So you had to you got your big cool new plane, then you had to wait 3 months for kind of a filler set that usually didn't have a lot of interesting stuff in it, and then 3 months later you did. So yeah, it's cool. Go next, Taylor. Deceit.
Yeah. All right. So here is also a cycle that we got to talk about, the elemental evokers. So this guy is Deceit, 4 colorless and blue-black hybrid. I don't know the best way to say that, but
2 blue-black hybrid.
Yeah, so 4 colorless and 2 blue-black hybrid. It's a 5/5 creature elemental incarnation, not a legendary, but it also has a double blue-black hybrid evoke cost. When this creature enters, if double blue was spent to cast it, return up to 1 target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. When this creature enters, if double black was spent to cast it, target opponent reveals their hand, you choose a non-land from it and discard that card. I don't think this is as cool as the other one that's later in here, but I cannot stress enough how cool of a design, and this is where it's like I could never think of something as cool as this, and which is why I never designed my own board games, but for me, I don't know the power level of this, but I think the way it's executed here is so cool. And it makes you care about mana colored pips even beyond the ramping this out. Usually you ramp out colorless mana. I don't know, it incentivizes having double color pays. Make it so when you evoke it, you only really can pick one mode, but you have to pay double pips, which is pretty hard in those early turns. So it's a good payoff. And the 2 effects work really well together where you can bounce things into their hand and then look at their hand to discard it. So if you pay them together, because you get to choose, it is kind of like a bounce and not destroy target non-land permanent.
Yeah, that's a good point. This one is actually better if you hardcast it at 6 mana because I was thinking about by the time you play this, let's say you play this as a 6-drop, I was thinking about the black ability. I'm on turn 6, you're going to look at your opponent's hand? That's really bad. So likely this card goes early game, you play it as its double black function to, pick apart their hand. There's maybe a world, I don't know, double blue sorcery speed bounce a permanent is always really fucking bad and slow.
Yeah, that's
a tempo
borderline.
Play. Yeah, it's tempo, and in Dimir it's probably fine enough. But which all of this made me think okay, so the blue mode is kind of bad, the black mode is bad later. This card seems like it's kind of bad, but when you actually combine it all as the hard cast, it basically reads at 6 mana 5/5 destroy target creature, which is kind of cool, right? You bounce the biggest threat, and then you look at their hand and take it.
Well, it's better than target creature. It's just non-land permanent.
That's true.
And I will say it's better than destroy because it avoids indestructible shit.
Yeah, there's no death triggers
either. Oh my gosh,
either.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is basically
it's
exile.
cool.
Most of the time it's just destroy, but that's I think is a small distinction. Yeah, I think
that's important.
You're basically spending six mana. If you have the right colors, you're spending 6 mana to get a 5/5 and get rid of their biggest threat on the board, which is a pretty big swing typically in terms of board state. So I like this a lot. I think it's sweet. Yeah, I agree with you, Taylor. I like the way they paired these 2 abilities in a way that hard casting it actually makes it better. I don't know.
One distinction I will say that I really don't like about this new evoke model is the requiring mana to be spent to cast it completely eliminates the flicker abuse that we could do in the past. So, cards like this are just not going to be even the evoke cards currently in Modern, right? The ones where you got to exile a card from your hand to evoke it. with pairing any of these with Ephemerate just is going to do nothing. I guess it lets you keep the creature permanently, but, a vanilla 5/5 or later we'll see in a vanilla 3/5. Not super great. You really want to flicker these because their ETBs are so strong. But,
I can't really
stapling hold... This also, real quick, Ashling's Command, very bad with these. You could these are elementals, so you could clone them, but when they enter, you didn't spend any mana on them, so you just get no abilities out of them. So,
yeah.
Maybe it's a balance valve, maybe it's intentional.
See, I feel like you can't hold a card, or it's tough to hold a card back because it doesn't work in a way that is like, oh, you can't play unfair Magic with it. It's like, I kind of like
you
these
call
cards
it unfair. I call it like a really, really
cool. Hey, does unfair
Kyle calls
mean
it
bad?
Alpha Magic.
I'm just saying it is not the way the card that is like getting around the rules to make a play that is better than it's supposed to be, right? That doesn't mean that it makes it like I'm saying that is a negative thing. I'm just saying that is like how I would categorize playing the card as it was designed versus like what's the best way to make it even stronger than it was like envisioned. Like I'm just to be clear, I'm saying it as like it's a different strategy. I kind of this is where I come from a little bit, is I like cards that don't have ways that if you abuse it, it's just like a really unfun to like, I don't know. There's too many cards that's like, oh, if I reanimate it, it's good. Like that's just so obviously easy to make, and like it kind of I don't know. I just get bummed out when like it's just like this card only is good because you can ephemerate it. And you can't, like, I don't know. I want cards to be, like, these effects are so strong because they didn't have to balance it around the idea that, like, well, what if they cheat it into play? It's like nothing. It's a 5/5 that does nothing. So these effects can be really powerful. I like to think of it that had to be considered as kind of like just an alternate as to why they would not, or like, you know what I'm getting at. I like that they don't have just enter effects because it lets it also incentivizes entirely different types of decks. Like this one's going to care about getting lands into play that can produce color. Like you don't want to put these in decks that like have a bunch of, I don't know, pain lands where they're colorless or pay a life for a color. Like, because you're going to want to go deep into that. And I don't know, that's more interesting. And I get more excited about interesting design that would incentivize a different board state than just like, oh, I could put this in this thing that already exists and it'll be really good. So that's why I think I like them even more. It's because they don't work with the ephemerates of the world, because
I like them less. So moving on, we got 7 cards to go through here, and we're half an hour in. Let's.
That's actually really good. We're doing good so far.
Yeah,
honestly.
We're actually pretty on pace.
Okay. Okay. Next card. This is the winner of the set for me. How do I?
Yes, I don't have to say these.
Just go for it.
Eardu?
No hesitation.
Okay. This guy, his name is Eardu, Carrier of Dawn. He's 3 colorless and double white. He's a legendary creature, elemental god. He has flying and lifelink. Creature spells you cast have convoke. At the beginning of your first main phase, you may pay a black. If you do, transform him, and he's a 5/5. Okay, 5/5 flying lifelink. You flip him on the other side, and it says flying lifelink 5/5, same stats, similar to Ashling. Each other non-token creature you control has persist. And then finally, at the beginning of your first main phase, you may pay white. If you do, flip him back. This guy, his backside's name, I don't care. This guy is wild and so good and so strong. I want to make a commander EDH deck out of him. Holy shit, what a fucking banger of a card. He basically has 2 lines of text. Creature spells you cast have convoke. Each other non-token creature you control has persist. Those 2 alone are fucking wild. He's also a 5/5 flying lifelink, so he's just going to beat the shit out of your opponents. I could rant about how amazing this guy is for a long time, so I'll let you guys get your licks in here. How you feel about him.
When I was reading... Oh, go Taylor, sorry.
No, Daniel, I talk too much. I want you to share your thoughts first this time.
Yeah, when I was like glancing through the spoilers to prepare for this, this was definitely my favorite of the bunch that I was excited to talk about. I mean, yeah, a 5/5 flying lifelink, that's already like the best foundation for a card you can have.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah, usually. And then I love, I feel like so his other side is black. So he's white, black, technically, right?
Yes, sorry, I didn't specify that, maybe.
I feel like he fits the colors so well in terms of his abilities, but also in terms of like what those deck types I think often want. Because what I imagine doing with him is using his front face, the creature spells you cast have Convoke, sort of build up your battlefield. And then when you're ready to swing in with a big attack, then you flip him over, give your guys Persist, then you swing in. Most of your dudes are going to survive, and then you flip them back over and rinse and repeat. So I don't know. I think he's just going to do some major damage. In EDH he'd be sweet, but I would imagine he's going to see a lot of play in Standard as well. That's all
something?
I got.
One other minor, this almost like a just like a random thought I had when reading this card is what's really nice about this is that the transform costs are only a single mana. So you never, you don't get blown out the way that, a lot of modern day transform costs are like, oh, if you want to flip into the backside, it's, 6 colorless, or, you have to pay, the full cost up front. I kind of like that the transforming back and forth is just a quick mana. So at worst, you get blown out for 1 mana on your main phase. Who cares? So that's a nice little incentivization to actually interact with the front and back. Convoke to me is always just a really fun and powerful word. So I can't help but be kind of Kyle level excited. Also, Persist to me is one of the most just that to me feels Lorwyn. I don't know anything other than just seeing that word Persist made me excited. I think it's a cool way.
So cool.
That was the white black mechanic hybrid I remember. So to me, this is just I don't have any ideas of what other than these are the types of decks I like. A bunch of dudes paying. I always forget that Convoke works for colored mana because I always think that it should just be the colorless, and because the reminder text shows the colorless but doesn't show a mana pip symbol, so I always go, oh, that's the shorthand. But in any case, I think
the end of the Convoke sentence is 1 mana of that creature's color.
It seems does seem crazy, but yeah, I love him.
It's also gonna pair so well with Bitterbloom Bearer, who's creating black tokens every single turn. On top of the fact that Persist is amazing in sacrifice decks. So you're just going to play this in a Death and Taxes deck, and you're going to have a bunch of sack triggers. All of your shit comes back. I'm thinking of Afterlife in my Tesa deck, putting this guy in there, getting multiple Afterlife triggers because my Afterlife dudes have Persist. Pairing this, I don't actually know how this is going to work with the creature that when it dies, it returns the creature to play with a flying counter on it.
Oh.
I don't know if it does, if it will get a flying counter and a -1/-1 for Persist, or if you can chain them together in a really cheesy way. I haven't looked into that, but it is what came to mind. It's funny, Taylor. I think you're more excited about the Convoke white side. I'm more excited about the Persist black side. The last thought I have about this guy is that he is very slow. So if you think about turn order of this, right? Likely you play this as soon as you can. So turn 5, let's just say. Turn 6, you're not going to want to flip him, because if you flip him, then you're not going to be able to convoke stuff in. So you're probably going to play him. Turn 6, you leave him face up, then you convoke stuff into play, dump your hand. Then turn 7, you flip him over and maybe start to do your Persist shenanigans, attacking for super high value, sacking stuff over and over. So in that regard, he's a little bit slower. At least for me to get to the side I care about, which is the Persist side. That's the side that'll be the most fun.
I'd say the other nice part about the front side, though, is that you can still play him on turn 5 or whenever you play him and still use his ability to convoking. As long as you have enough dudes there, there's still.
That's a good point. That's a good point. By turn 5, especially if you played a Bitterbloom Bearer on turn 2, by turn 5, you're going to have, including himself, because he can then tap for convoke. Because it's an ability, it's an activated ability, it doesn't require haste. Yeah, so that's a good point. There's a world where you play him and you convoke in another couple cards, and then
so you might not get, and you're right that you still have to wait till turn 6 to get down the Persist side, but in theory you might end up having a much larger board after he comes into play while tapped out than you thought, So
you also could just play this in a mono white deck. the front of this card, both sides of this card, they're just enormously powerful. Like, pretend he doesn't have a backside and read that card to me and tell me that isn't insane. Yeah, a 5/5 flying lifelink for 5 that gives all your fucking creatures Convoke. I mean, that's insane.
I do really like that you actually can't cast this with the persist side up, because it being on the board and says other creatures you control have persist is kind of like backbreaking. So like to have that ability to have summoning sickness almost like is an interesting balance thing. I don't know. It's just I don't know how to quite quantify the balance lever on that. Like there's no way to get that backside up at an instant. This thing has to be in play either before your main phase or already, you know?
I think that's going to be a theme with all these flip cards, is the back might be a little bit more powerful because it requires it to survive a full turn cycle and then have to commit a mana to flip it over.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see a world where, because that's how Ashling is too. The red side is okay, and the blue side is the one that actually lets you do stuff. In this case, Iridu, the white side is bonkers insane, but the black side is where like all the payoff is going to come into play. So this guy's just bonkers regardless, but I love this card. Love, 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 love. So goddamn cool.
This one's not going to be a cycle. I think this is the only one.
What?
Of like the elemental gods, you mean?
Yeah, I think this is, from my understanding, this is the elemental god that's causing why the day and night keeps going back and forth.
That makes sense.
See, when he's the front side is around, he's bringing the sun, but then when he's in the dark side,
his face is the sun.
Then he's bringing the twilight when he's on the other. So his transformation nature is why the set is. That's what the story's about. So that's also why this is not. There's no more. I don't think there'll be any other elemental gods that do this kind of thing in this set.
At least there will certainly be more that are like Ashling, though, that transform
100%.
And have a cool effect, which I'm really excited to see those. All right,
in fact, there's one at the end of this list, but we'll get there eventually.
Oh, there is, true. Forgot, yeah.
All right, moving on to the next one. So, the next card is called Emptiness, and it costs 4 colorless mana and then 2 hybrid white-black mana, so it's a total of 6 mana cost. It's a 3/5 elemental incarnation creature. And the text reads, when this creature enters, if 2 white was spent to cast it, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. And when this creature enters, if double black was spent to cast it, put 3 -1/-1 counters on up to 1 target creature. And then its evoke cost is 2 hybrid white-black mana. Yeah, I think this one's really cool. It's like the Deceit card we talked about earlier, that it's kind of incentivized to hard cast it, because then you can get both triggers, which I like. I think it's a little less powerful than Deceit. I don't know how I feel about a 3/5 for 6, even paired with those 2 abilities. But on the plus side, the art, I'll describe the art to our listeners. It's kind of like the body of a skeletal dinosaur, and then the head is Plankton from SpongeBob, but it has ram's horns. So it's pretty cool.
Is
pretty badass.
Plankton sitting on top of the skeleton of a horse. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. I think it's fine, but I don't think this is worth mythic rare status.
It's funny. I think this one's way more powerful than
I was gonna say I'm
really?
gonna be on Kyle's side, where I completely disagree with the it being a 3/5 doesn't even matter. It's this thing only matters because of its text, and you can get a 3 in a lot of scenarios. This thing is either killing 1, 2, or 3 creatures, is bringing back either 1, 2, or 3 permanents or creatures. Is it just creatures?
No,
creatures.
It's up to 1 target creature with
it's
the
just
counters.
1 target creature. You get the counters on.
Right, but I'm saying for each 2 you spend on it, you would get another target. Like, the idea is, if you paid 6...
No, that's not how it works.
So you change...
When it enters, if 2 black was spent to cast it, you put 3 counters on something.
All of these are way worse than I read them originally. I thought you would get the effect up to 3 times.
So you thought if you spent triple or 6 black on it, you would get 3 triggers.
These are way less modular than I thought. Wow, I read those over and over trying to make sure I was reading that right.
I mean,
These
unless
are not
I'm
as
totally wrong.
creatively designed as I thought. Okay, it's fine. Okay. But even then, this still is 6 mana, return something, and kill something. Even if it doesn't kill something, like, you should be...
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I always forget how many extremely important cards there are at mana value 3 or less. So I guess there's a lot of pieces that you'd want to get out of your graveyard that you'd happily pay that mana for. So maybe it's better than I
And even
thought.
then, it,
I
like...
don't know.
Yeah, I struggle to find how Deceit is, like, at least widely as a margin. Like, they feel within compatibility of each other. The reason I think Deceit's a 5/5 is because, like, double blue is kind of like a really bad mode on its own, whereas, like, think of double white or double black. Both of those modes, odds are you're getting value, at least.
Yeah, and especially in this set, bouncing probably will end up being bad, especially in the face of these other elementals. Like, there's not a world where you're going to play Deceit and bounce their evoking elemental if they hard cast it and let them cast it again.
That's fair.
And we have a card coming up. We have multiple cards coming up that all have good ETBs. However, the most important mode on Emptiness for me is the double black mode of putting 3 -1/-1 counters on a creature. It's a kill spell. It's a 2 mana sorcery kill spell early game.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's so fucking strong.
And it's not even just... Okay, let's say they have a 4/4. Even if you can't kill it, it is now a 1/1. Like, it changes the... Like, a lot of... The problem with a lot of minus X spells it's like... The problem is, like, same with red damage. It's like, well, if I can't get through it all at once... But that changes a lot. And, like, maybe obviously you wouldn't target on a mana dork or something where it's, you know... As long as it's alive, it's not relevant. But it's
something to note even further is the minus counters disable your opponent's persist.
Yep, I also just thought
I was thinking about that too. Yeah,
yeah, and I think another telling sign that even wotc thinks this is a stronger card is that it's a 3/5. It's not a 5/5 like Deceit. So I think they know it's a stronger card, which is why it has worse stats.
Okay.
So yeah, bouncing is always iffy on its viability. If you're playing against a deck where bouncing their stuff because they have good ETBs is a bad option, then your Deceit now just has the mode of double black, make them discard a non-land, which isn't super great. I do love this, slamming him as a 6-drop and immediately eliminating their biggest indestructible threat, getting around die triggers. Like, I really do like that. But Emptiness just strikes me as being so much stronger, especially, too, when you consider that the white mode of returning something, Persist is coming back in this set. So if you have something that's died multiple times because of its Persist, and now it's permanently dead, this thing is going to bring it back as a fresh creature, and you're going to be able to sack it, it'll come back, persist it again, sack it again. Like, you're going to be able to do a lot more in this set, and returning something to play that could have persist is going to have so much value. Yeah, Emptiness to me it's a kill spell, crazy value. If you slam it as a 6-drop, it's a 3-for-1. It's wild. It's really, really, really strong.
I think that, it's just kind of... I feel like Emptiness just has more versatility. Like, you have more ways to use that, whereas Deceit is kind of like a big guy who destroys one thing, whereas Emptiness, I feel like, is just like... has way more options. It feels way less narrow. That's why I think Emptiness feels more powerful to me.
And not to discount Deceit, like having the option to turn 2, turn 2 Thoughtseize, like, that's good. That's very, very good. There's no arguing that, but I think the blue mode is going to be way less useful, used much more seldomly.
Yeah,
I don't know what the rest of the set holds, but
I think the issue is that I just like big dudes who destroy things, like Taylor said. So
sure,
simple as that.
I love my hulking, destroying dudes.
Oh, well, and speaking of types of creatures we like, these are my favorite types of creatures, some Zelesnya bullshit. All right, here we go. Another throwback to Figure of Fable. All right, so this is a 1/1 creature Kithkin that costs 1 green-white hybrid mana. First ability, for 1 green/white hybrid mana, this creature becomes a Kithkin Scout with base power and toughness 2/3. Then, you can also pay 1 colorless and 2 green-white hybrid. If it is a scout, it becomes a soldier with base power 4/5. Then it has another ability for 3 colorless and 3 hybrid green-white mana. If it was a soldier, it becomes an avatar with base power 7/8 and protection from your opponents. This card's pretty bad, but it's cool as shit, and that's all that matters. Right? Isn't that right? Am I right?
It's solid. It's good. Figure of Destiny, which if you guys remember was the one from the original Lorwyn set that it's mimicking. Yeah. Figure of Destiny was, if I remember correctly, played. It's pretty strong. It's certainly good in, I know it's in Carver's Cube. It's always a good pick. Might be good in EDH. I don't think so. But I like these cards. They're deceptively good.
All I was going to add to your thing about Figure of Destiny is I actually, based upon, from what I'm hearing about pro players, is that every time they've printed other cards that do this exact thing, because they did this in Kaldheim as well on a blue creature, it did not see as much play. It seems like the Figure of Destiny was the best it ever was, and even more power crept versions of Figure of Destiny. It's like Magic is just faster now than it was when Lorwyn was printed. So that's why I'm like, that the C card can really reset a lot of this progress. Yep. You can't go from 1 to level 3. You have to go to level 1. Then you wait till the opponent put this ability on the stack, then kills it. That's why I think it's bad. Its effects are great and it's very cost efficient, but I don't know.
Emptiness kills this on curve. You turn 1 Fable, turn 2 upgrade it, play something else. My turn 2, I evoke Emptiness, kill your Figure of Fable. Yeah, this one, it's actually kind of stronger than Figure of Destiny. Figure of Destiny, it's the same mana costs for all the upgrades, 1, 3, 6, but they cost all of the hybrid mana. So it's a red-white hybrid card.
Yeah, so it costs exactly. 1, this is power crept. It's half the mana value.
Yeah. The Figure of Destiny becomes a 2/2. This becomes a 2/3. Then Figure of Destiny becomes a 4/4. This becomes a 4/5. Figure of Destiny becomes an 8/8 flying first strike, which is bonkers. But this becomes a 7/8 protection from your opponents, which means they can't block it, they can't target it. So it's going to kill your opponent in 1 or 2 turns. So it has less keywords, but it's just basically better than Figure of Destiny.
It is a win. It's kind of like the big Cactar from the Final Fantasy set, in that technically it has the win condition printed on it. If you give this hexproof, or something, you're right that this thing can kind of win on its own. I just struggle to believe that we are. I could find a table where that would happen, other than some dumb random arena match where someone's mana screwed, where it gets to the 4/5 against the red deck.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you think about, by the time it becomes a 4/5, you've invested 5 mana, and it's just a very bad rate. Yeah, I like these cards, but I just know they're not going to do.
Yeah, that's exactly how that's my conclusion.
Much. Daniel, what is your word? Speak now. All right. Nice.
No, I kind of agree with everything you guys were saying. I didn't feel like I had too much to add. I really like cards like this. I like them in theory, but yeah, I feel like they don't hold up in reality a lot of the time. So, yeah, I don't know. I like it, but I'm hesitant to say it's good.
Yeah. I love Omar Rayan. He is the artist for this. He did art back in the original Lorwyn. He has this, it looks like colored pencil. He might actually do art in colored pencil.
It's beautiful.
He has an amazing, amazing art style that's
I wonder if it's like oil pastel or something, actually.
Yeah. Dude, I'm so ignorant about art. I don't really know how any of it is made. So it could be anything. But it looks like CP. Wait, no. That means something else. That's colored pencil.
Speaking of colored pencil.
Holy shit.
My bad.
Look, anyway,
that's on me, guys. That's on me.
Some mistakes.
Oh, that's so good.
All right, what's next?
I don't know, Kyle. You tell us.
Oh, is it me?
Pretty sure it is.
It me?
It's not me.
Yes,
I just read.
Okay. Next card we have is Formidable Speaker. It is 2 colorless and a green for a 2/4 elf druid. When this creature enters, you may discard a card. If you do, search your library for a creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. And he has one colorless, tap, untap another target permanent. This guy's weird. I don't understand what the untap shit is about. Its ETB effect is obviously the useful one, where you just kind of crop rotate a creature in your hand, or whatever simple way to say it. A 3-mana 2/4 is a solid body, and then you discard a card you don't want for the best creature in your deck. Seems really strong. Like, very, very strong. This is kind of a fair tutor effect, if you will, and it does play well into flicker effects if they're going to be printed in this set. I have no idea. The untap thing is, I really don't get why that's on there.
Dude, this is Elf Ball Champion right here. This is the untap is for all of the elf cards that tap and
you're
do
right.
X for however many elves you have.
Yeah, you're right. Like just a Priest of Titania that taps for green for all your elves,
or Well-Wisher or whoever it is. Yeah. So this guy.
Why put this on this? Why put that on there? You'd think they would somehow tie it in thematically, like,
My guess is this is the only elf we've seen printed so far that this might be more relevant in the actual tribe itself that we just haven't seen more of.
I don't like that they put an ability on here that's good for the other cards. I don't like that in a vacuum this is not cohesive.
You know, Kyle?
It feels completely disjointed.
Let me ask you this. Do you
I
think
know why they're doing it.
Do you think that it's relevant that it's a World Championship designed card?
Is it?
It is. In the flavor text, it says specifically
Jean-Emmanuel Desprez, World Champion XXIX
29,
which is 29.
So,
I don't know.
Well, my point being is that the winner of those tournaments design a card and they put those cards in sets. So my point being that if this doesn't feel thematically linked anywhere, I'm like, it might just because this guy designed a really interesting elf ball card, and they're like, oh, we have the next elf set is Lorwyn, so we'll put it in the set where there are other elves, so at least makes sense, is my point.
Yeah.
It's like, that might be why this is a one-off design. Because the answer is, it doesn't make any sense, and I agree with you 100%, and there's nothing interesting to add, because it does feel totally disjointed. These two effects don't interact with each other, other than, as Daniel pointed out, that elves love to tap to do stuff. So this being a guy that like inspires another elf to do something else, because he's finding other elves, like that might be what they're trying to convey, and it just doesn't read that way. I don't know. That's my guess.
Yeah, not much to say about him. He seems
just
like he's
ball.
going to be the pivotal, like you said, Daniel, the pivotal kind of elf ball card. He lets you tutor for the elf that you need at any given moment, and then he untaps your other ones to make them double up on their bonkers effects. He
also is good in black-green decks where you need to put a creature in the graveyard too. Like
he's going to be so disgustingly good.
I was thinking that he plays really well with cards like Abomination of Llanowar that are happy with elves in the graveyard as well.
God, yeah.
So he's going to be good. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it'll end up being a fairly expensive card. Yeah. Do you want to move on to the next one?
Yep.
All right, sweet.
Take us there, my big D.
This is, I think, right now the most expensive pre-order card in the set. Well, I guess there's only like 10, but yeah.
Oh, wow.
So this is Morning Tide's Light. It is it costs 4 mana. It's 3 colorless and 1 white mana. It's a sorcery that says, exile any number of target creatures. At the beginning of the next end step, return those cards to the battlefield tapped under their owner's control. Until your next turn, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. Exile Morning Tide's Light. So, yeah, this is fucking stupid. It's just mass flicker and fog in one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How does the fairy's protection work? How is this different than... I know that there's phasing involved. This is... Because it doesn't protect the items when they return at the end of your turn, obviously.
So fairy's protection phases out all of your shit, and then you can't take damage for a turn, or you have protection from your opponents. But phasing, notably, is significantly worse than flickering, for the most part. Obviously, there's scenarios where you'd prefer phasing, but you're likely putting this... Well, I guess Teferi's Protection, like phasing out all your tokens if you're going to get board wiped, is really strong.
So I guess I shouldn't have brought it up. I was just trying to figure out if this was similar. And it's not. There's too many nuanced differences.
Well, it's similar. And Teferi's Protection is also an instant. Teferi's Protection is just stupid. Yeah, that's... why would you...
Yeah, fuck me. I'm an idiot.
God, why would you bring that up?
I feel bad. I deserve a lash.
This card is stupid as hell. It's busted as hell. It's crusted as we call it. So you play this on your turn, right? It's a sorcery. You exile their board, so you get a free attack. Then their shit returns to play at the end of your turn, but then they can't hurt you on their turn, so you get in a full free attack and then also negate your opponent's swing back. That's like the baseline version of this card, too, by the way. Just the simplest version is like, make all of my shit unblockable for a turn, and then you can't hurt me next turn. That alone is going to probably win a lot of games. You don't want to be giving all your opponents their ETB stuff. That's maybe not ideal, but at the end of the day, if it lets you win the game, who gives a fuck? You then also have the version where you're just flickering all of your amazing ETBs. If you have a Selesnya Elf deck or Kifkin deck or whatever they're making here with Formidable Speaker letting you retutor stuff. This card's going to do some wild, wild things. Sorcery Speed makes it significantly worse. Exiling itself makes it really bad. It seems like they don't want another Teferi's Protection type card.
Cut out for anyone?
Yeah.
Okay, well... To be fair,
what? Am I still here?
It's unfortunate, but
am I not? It's definitely recording my voice
and buying Kyle some time to maybe crawl his way back to.
Yeah, this is an intermission.
I also thought it seemed really strong. I wasn't sure if it read as strong as I thought it did, but it seems like it's really powerful here at the end.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I mean, Audacity's been recording my voice the entire time. So.
Yeah, I figured it's all be in here or Kyle cut it out. It's up. I guess you'll find out, but...
Okay. So, let's just stop. We'll cut out that middle clip and we just go back to what you were saying, Kyle.
No, I won't.
Yeah, you obviously don't know how this works. It's okay to keep it going. I was trying to keep talking about Morningtide's Light, where I wasn't sure when I first read it if it seemed as strong as it seemed to me, and you're confirming what it sounds like. Yeah, this just is really good. I'm glad they make you exile it so you can't fucking... We don't need another time warp shenanigans type shit. You know what I mean?
What makes this card particularly strong, too, is I think it's very, very good proactively or reactively. Whether you're ahead or behind, this card is extremely, extremely powerful. It buys you time if you're behind. It lets you flicker stuff so that maybe you get extra ETBs and gain some value. If you're ahead, it lets you really press the advantage, like I said, by clearing out their side and swinging in for potentially lethal. Lets you flicker your big board of ETB stuff and just gain, 10 different ETB triggers again, and then still preventing your opponents from hurting you for a turn. Like, yeah, this card's just going to do it.
You know how they could have made it more insane is if they said choose any number of creatures. So you could get around hexproof.
Sure, yeah.
That seems
it does target,
underpowered.
Yeah.
Seems underpowered then, actually. It's kind of dog shit. Now, speaking of a card that's overpowered and it's probably going to be banned in every format it's ever been printed in.
Let's hear it.
I love this little guy. Mutable Explorer. It's 2 colors and a green for a 1/1 creature. Shapeshifter, so you know what that means. Changeling. So it is every creature type. When this enters, create a tapped Mutavault token, which creates a land with the ability tap to add a colorless, and for 1 colorless mana, this creature becomes a 2/2 creature with all creature types. So it becomes a 2/2 changeling. And the reason I think this is awesome is I think changeling is just my favorite thing ever. It's just like, I love the idea of just tribal, where you just have a deck full of changelings and a bunch of cards that care about creature types, but the creature type isn't specific to anything. So you have like a card that might care about having merfolk or tree folk and stuff like that. That's always like a funny thing. But this to me signals something very interesting in that they're in a standard legal set creating cards that create tokens of old ass classic Magic. People love Mutavault. That's just a cool ass land.
Yeah, it's
and the
so
fact that they're printing a card with an ETB that creates a token that is a literal copy of a card in a standard set is really cool and exciting, and can lead to a lot of other who knows what else. And also, this guy just looks cute as frick. Yeah, I just love this thing. It's not that good. I just think it's really cool. I love ramping too.
It's a 3-mana creature that ramps. Yeah, you lose the marginal bonus of pulling a land out of your deck, but as statistics over the years have shown, that rarely ever makes an actual difference. So just a 3-mana 1/1 that's every creature type that also gives you it ramps you, and then the ramp land it creates can then become a creature that is also a changeling. Yeah, it does a lot of cool stuff. It's gonna be stealthy good, I think. It is a 1/1 changeling with no abilities. It does nothing. So like, it is a real dinky little guy.
But he's a great blink target. Like that's the other thing. And like the way I look at it is, it itself isn't the reason it's good. It's like what it is just an ETB. It's a spell that technically stays on the battlefield after you've cast it. And if they don't do something with it, you can, it prevents one attack or whatever. So it's just 3 mana to, instead of, getting a basic land out of your deck, you create a Mutavault instead. And when you kind of frame it that way, to me, I feel like, and it comes with an additional 1/1 creature that, in a lot of ways, is in a set it's going to have blinking, and when you blink this, that's a 3-mana effect for free. I don't know. I feel like this is just my favorite kind of 3-mana do nothing creature. That's like kind of just a 1/1 that does at ETBs. Like the Thespian, the guy that's a 1-mana 1/2 that creates a clue when it enters. Those type of guys, like those type of creatures,
Thraben
like my
Inspector,
favorite. Yeah, Thraben Inspector. That's what I was looking for. Those types of creatures are my favorite, where they're like, they aren't scary enough to do anything about, but they are really useful in that, like, they might save you because they chump block, or they're great flicker targets, or something else that the deck wants to do, a sack outlet. I love those types of creatures. They're just fun for me. So that's all I got on him.
Very, actually, I was just thinking, how would he work with the backside of Iridu, Isilu? Other non-token creatures you control have persist. So he would come back persisted with the counter on it, and then probably get his ETB and then instantly die. So he actually would work with persist. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. We're going to move on next, I think. I don't have much else to say, and Daniel's currently shitting in the toilet. He had an emergency.
I knew you were going to say it. I was like, I'm not.
I had to. Well, he's not at his computer. He can't stop me.
And he's not going to listen to the episode back. He'll never know.
Guys, I almost shit my pants. I got to go. Yeah, so I'm just going to read the next card while he's
the
TCOB.
last card, too.
Yes, it is, which I guess we did really power through this.
That's why I was like, you were worried we weren't going to make time. I was like, I know. Well, we're doing good.
We spent like 30 minutes on 4 cards, so I figured...
The front half, I think, had a lot more of the, like, kind of...
rambly, tangential conversation.
And much more interesting, like, card designs. And once you kind of, like... Deceit, we got to talk about the actual design space of those elementals a lot more than when we talked about emptiness.
That's true. Yeah, I got to bring up Kindred, got to talk about the new transform mechanic, and now it's just repeats of all that stuff, yeah. Alright, so the last card is Sig, Wanderwine Wisdom. How do we say Wanderwine, right?
Yeah, Wanderwine.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Sig, Wanderwine Wisdom, 1 colorless, 1 blue, 2/2 legendary creature, Merfolk Wizard. Sig can't be blocked. Whenever this creature enters or transforms into Sig, target creature gains. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, draw a card. Until end of turn. You may, holy shit, dude, I'm pulling a Taylor right here. Sorry, guys, getting ahead of myself. At the beginning of your first main phase, you may pay 1 white if you do transform it. The backside, still a 2/2, Sig still can't be blocked. When this creature transforms into this side, target creature you control gains protection from each color until your next turn. At the beginning of your first main phase, you may pay blue to transform it back. Okay, so, obviously I'm going to have a visual up because I butchered the reading of that, so, for all y'all with decent listening comprehension who are lost as hell from my reading, Look at your screens now.
Whoa!
There
I
it
can
is.
see.
Yeah, so Sig, Wanderwine, Wisdom. I don't know what to make of this guy. I think he's going to be good. He's a 2-mana 2/2 Merfolk Wizard that can't be blocked. All of that alone, Merfolk Wizard Tribal is basically the two most popular tribes. Maybe Elf, but like Wizard and Merfolk are right there. Merfolk also in Lorwyn, guaranteed to be a tribe. There's going to be a lot of synergy with this guy, I'm sure. He also then enables other things to not be blocked, gives you card advantage. He seems strong. Like, his front side, when he ETBs, target creature gains when this creature deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, draw a card this turn. That's probably not going to be good, actually. See, so unlike Ashling, I think this guy's going to do nothing the turn you play him most of the time. Because, like, if you play him on curve, you have a 1-drop? Maybe? That gets unblockable? Might be
Merfolk tend to be kind of evasive creatures, so like I could see at least them printing some kind of card that this would want to target. But I'll be honest, I don't get this card. It seems like both sides are kind of ass and are too, because of the timing of their abilities. They're both not even sorcery speed at the beginning of your main phase or when it's casted speed. So you can't like protect anything with this. It's only about getting an attack in, and like I don't know, getting the front side you arguably can't get any value on if you don't already have a board ready to go. So that feels bad. Yep. And the backside, it lets you... It's kind of like a more powerful version of this can't be blocked, because like it also is kind of like giving it hexproof. But... so like it's cool. I don't know. Maybe I just don't like these gameplay styles, and I don't know... for me, this is like total like, that's what this is? Who gives a shit, dude?
Yeah.
Wipe my butt with this card.
Really slow incremental value. Yeah, notably, he's good when he flips back into himself, because these transform effects. Also, we didn't mention this. A lot of other transforms exile the card and then bring it back flipped. These transform effects just flip it over, so they stay in play. So, yeah, if you flip him to his backside, then flip him back over, he can target himself. Okay, so this is solo commentary by just me, Kyle. We had a technical difficulty. My Audacity froze, and it was didn't realize it until too late, so it was too hard to kind of stitch the conversation together to make it sound normal. So we basically just abandoned the last couple minutes of the podcast. But essentially, we were talking about the final card. It's not good. Nobody thinks it was good. Wasn't exciting. Unfortunately, it sucks to end the podcast on not only a kind of weak, limp-wristed card, but also on a technical difficulty that requires me coming back and doing commentary on it. But, that was the pod for the day. Lorwyn Eclipsed spoilers. A lot of them very cool. Some of them not so much, but that's par for the course. Thanks for listening. See you guys.